Completely change your hip mobility with this 10-minute hip challenge. I'm Doc John from Mobility Doc. Our subscribers have spoken, and a hip mobility challenge is what they want. I'm going to give you 3 of our best hip mobility exercises that I'm going to show you how to do, and you're going to do every single day for the next 2 weeks. You do them, you will see drastic changes in how your hips move. Let's do this. Every single day for the next 2 weeks, it doesn't matter when you do it, you're going to follow this format. Test, perform these 3 movements that I'm about to show you like a circuit, going from 1, 2 to 3 for 3 rounds, and then you're going to retest. The test we're going to use for this challenge is going to be a straight leg raise, because there is so much more than simply just hamstring flexibility when you raise your leg in the air. So, laying on my back, I am going to raise each leg as high as they go. I'm going to note where one is, I'm going to note where the other is. I'm going to see, after doing each leg 3 times, what each one feels like and which one's better, which one's worse. Because the goal is not to just improve our hip range of motion, but it's to even out our hip range of motion. So what I saw was that my left leg is much tighter than my right. I've been dealing with a little bit of anterior hip discomfort or pain myself, and a little bit of like a right hamstring irritation, especially when I sprint at the moment. So this is going to be good for me, it's going to be good for you. I'm doing the exact same thing. So that's our test. It's also going to be our retest at the very end, ideally in a journal. It could be a digital one, it could be a paper one, whatever you want, but make note of how you are each day, so that way you can keep track of your progress. From day 1 to 14 will be drastic, but day 1 to day 2 to day 3, sometimes it's not as drastic. All right, let's get into it. So the first movement we're gonna do is a Brettzel 2.0. The Brettzel 2.0 is a favorite, it's a staple here. Most of us have seen the Brettzel 1.0. The 2.0 is just a little different. So what we're gonna do is you're going to hold each stretch for 30 seconds. You're going to hold one side, then hold the other side, and then you're going to move on. Like I said, you have 3 rounds. So if I'm focusing on my left leg, I'm going to bend my left knee. I'm going to drop this knee into the ground. I'm going to twist to the side, and I'm going to bring my entire torso over. The more I feel myself come over to this position, the more I feel the stretch here. But the cream on the milk is you want to squeeze this glute, pop that hip on the side that you're stretching to get more out of it. If I show this on the other side, you're going to drop that knee, squeeze your glute, turn yourself over. You can work on bending that knee a little bit more to see if you want to bring out a little more stretch. So if I bring my heel towards my butt, I get a little bit more hip flexor. If I bring that heel out and push down and squeeze my butt, you're getting a little bit more of an internal rotation stretch on there. But squeeze that glute, don't be lazy. This is not the stretch. This is the stretch. Pop that hip, hold for 30 seconds each side. Brettzel 2.0. Next, what we're going to get into is an activation technique. It's a great one. I personally learned it from a guru, Gray Cook, and his posse at the Functional Movement Systems. I love this. One of the big issues with a leg raise is not just hamstring flexibility, but it is core activation. And one of the reasons why we start straining our hip flexors is because our core is not engaging when we bring our leg up, whether you're jumping, running, whatever, you know. Every time you bring your leg up, if your core is not engaged, you're just pulling from that hip flexor, and the more you do it, the angrier it gets. So let's get into this next exercise. What you're gonna do is you can take any kind of resistance band that you have at your home gym or at the gym that you go to. I have these 2 independent ones that I've hooked to my Rogue Rack here. It's securely hooked. That's a big thing. Make sure this doesn't come down on you. You're gonna just simply lay on your back like you were about to do that straight leg test all over again. You're going to pull as hard as you can, get those bands down and get that core engaged. You should feel like you're like, oh yeah, it's hard to like talk because I feel like I'm in the middle of a crunch. So you're gonna pull, then bring the leg up and then down and relax. Pull, bring the leg up, down, and relax. What I suggest is you stick to one side. I showed right then left. So if I pull, right leg up, down, relax. Pull, right leg up, down, relax. Notice I don't lose my tension while I'm doing this. Don't worry if you feel like you can get more out of it, because remember, you have 3 rounds, right? So 10 each leg. My third and final movement for you in this challenge, a version of a hip circle that's standing that I really love. We use hip circles a lot where you're going back, up, over, and down, or you can go in like the reverse. But one of the things that we've noticed is it's hard to be certain that you're doing it correctly. It's hard not to let the leg drop, get a little lazy with how you're moving. So something that I really enjoyed was using a prop to make sure you stay honest. So I'm just using a box jump. This is a Titan 24-30 inch, I believe. So get that box to a height, maybe starting at the lower mark. Right now, we're on 20 inches. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back and up. I'm gonna slide my foot along and down, and then I'm gonna come back the other way. That's 1 rep. You're gonna do 10 reps on each side, trying to not hike your hip a lot and just slide the leg over top. So it's important my hips stay mostly level, my torso stays mostly straight as I do this. If that's too easy, you can bring it up. Now I have it on 24 inches. Same idea. I'm going to clear out, up, slide, and down. So same idea with this. You could just go higher. You can increase the height on each round if you wanted to, because you're gonna have 3 rounds of this. So again, 10 each leg, each round if you wanna increase. If you go too high, then what you'll see is you'll start to have to like side bend to get the leg over and go really wide with it. This is way too high for me, but it's also a little bit high up on my hip crease. So maybe this is something that I could do eventually, and maybe this is a height that I should aspire to reach. But right now, if I use that height, I'm like wasting my time and wasting this challenge. You will see improvement over 2 weeks, like I said, and it's important you keep track of how you were doing, because you will see how you've increased your height over time. After you've held the Brettzel 2.0 for 30 seconds on each side, and then you did the straight leg raise with core activation 10 times on each side, and then you've done these hip circles with a hurdle for 10 reps on each side, you're gonna repeat that 3 times. After you've repeated that, you're going to give yourself a little space, lay back down, bring your legs up, and test 3 times on each side again. You will see a difference. For those of you that are like, well, I don't know about a straight leg raise, I was hoping for more rotation. That straight leg raise is pretty neat, because what you don't often realize, at least, and maybe some of you are way ahead and advanced, but when you bring a leg up, yes, it's that hamstring that's stretching, but you've also got a hip flexor that could be getting in the way and a weak core that could be getting in the way. So you have this posterior chain that might be tight, but you might have a tight hip flexor on the other side that's trying to yank it back because it doesn't want to stretch relatively as you're bringing this up. You have a core that might be weak and might not be helping you. And maybe that weakness is because of a previous injury. Maybe you're otherwise really strong, but just dysfunctional at the moment. And you could also have just purely hip joint stiffness, like in the SI joint, in the femoral acetabular joint. These 3 movements are going to address all of that. Every single one of these is designed to stretch, activate, and integrate the soft tissue, the hard tissue. Neurologically, it's all meant to get that together. The Mobility Doc way is to improve mobility by addressing flexibility, core or stability, and also strength. If you don't do all 3 of those, then you're not improving mobility, because mobility is not just stretching. I hope that you have everything you need for from me. Feel free to reach out if you have questions. If you can, go ahead and tag us as you're doing this challenge. We'd love to see your progress. We also would love to get any kind of feedback, and if you need anything from us, don't hesitate. Just shoot us a message, comment more publicly so others can benefit. Remember, 14 days, 10 minutes a day, put it wherever it fits. This will change your hip range of motion. Again, I'm Doc John from Mobility Doc. I appreciate you. Like, subscribe, follow, share. Help us help more people. Thanks for watching.